Hi YouTube, and welcome to the 5th episode of my 6-part series, Campaigning 101, where I walk you through the basics of running a political campaign. Today we're going to be talking about meeting the people. Before you get too deep into your campaign, you want to make sure to take the temperature of the area that you're campaigning in. One way to do this is canvassing. Canvassing involves you going out door to door, getting to know people, and also getting to know their political views. Going door to door can be kind of scary if you haven't done it very much, but I promise you, the more you do it, the better it gets. When you're canvassing, you'll need some tools with you. Mostly, you'll want a clipboard, some little postcards to mail out to the voters later, and a pen. You may also want to have some forms to keep track of political views, but that's up to you. When you go up to a house, try and take note of something interesting around their house. Maybe it's some figurines in the front yard, or they have a really cool car. If the person answers the door, bring it up to them. Say, "Oh, I noticed that your car is so awesome. It's tumbler blue." Get them talking about something that they're interested in, and it'll help them make a connection with you on a personal level. Let them know that you're running for office and that you'd appreciate their vote. Also, have a little bit of a speech prepared about your stances on the important issues. Ask them if they'd mind taking a minute to hear about your campaign. As you're walking away from the house, pull out those postcards and write down something personal from your conversation with the person, such as, "Your '67 Mustang is so killer," or "I hope that you got to your dentist appointment okay." It'll make a personal connection with them and remind them of the conversation you had. Then, about a week before the election, send them out to the people who you talk to. It'll remind them of your name and your conversation with them right before they go to the polls. The other part of getting to know the people is speeches. When you run a campaign, you're probably going to give quite a few speeches along the way to different organizations, different venues, different people. You want to make sure that when you write your speeches, you make sure the middle is pretty much the same for every single speech that you do. This makes sure that you stay on message and on point and you don't deviate. It makes sure that people get the meat of what you stand for and why you should be elected. Then, for each venue, do a little bit at the beginning and end of the speech to personalize it for where you are. So, if you're in a city that has a famous statue, you might mention to them, "Man, it was easy to find this place. I just turned left at the statue of Napoleon Dynamite." That lets people know that you care about where you are and that you recognize something important to them. It helps you make a personal connection and makes them more willing to vote for you. You also want to loop back at the end and make sure you bring in some personal anecdotes from people in the room or in the area, such as, "I saw Jim over there and he was telling me about how this community really needs more lunch money for schools. And I tell you what, I agree with you, Jim, and I hope to do everything I can." Make sure that you're making connections with people in the room so that the people know that you care about where you are. And last, I mentioned this before, but make sure that you stay on message in every single speech and every Q&A. Anticipate the questions people are going to ask and have a way to answer them so that you make sure your points are getting across and you aren't deviating or, worse, giving something to the opposition they can use against you. And that's the basics of getting to know the people when you're campaigning. If you have questions, ask them down in the comments below and I will help you out all I can. In the meantime, like, subscribe, share these videos with your friends, and keep on campaigning!